Everyone, this is Katie Scott from Wise Primary School. I'm the speech therapist here. We are going to go over how to put in progress reports real quick. So this is your main page after you log into the system. You go up to this top bar where it says main menu, my account, etc. You're going to click on the Wizards tab. Once the Wizards tab pulls up, you have these options to select. What you're going to select is Progress Report. This is what the Progress Report site looks like. So whenever you pull it up for your kids, you're going to see Progress Report, Select Students, School Year, Reporting Period. I'm just going to select a reporting period right now just to have it in there because it's required usually. So when you scroll down, you see all the kids on your caseload. So I like to click Check None just because that will give me fewer options and I won't lose track of who I've done necessarily. I might not exit out of the system. It gives me a break. So I'm going to just choose a few students. But of course, if you want to do all of them, you can click Check All. I'm going to select just a couple of kids that I see. Okay. So when you get the kids that you want, you go to Continue. So this is the page you see after you click the Continue and you select what students you want to work on. I've only selected 3 right now, so it's going to give you the kid's name, the reporting period, and student 1 of how many you selected. You can skip this student, but I don't necessarily do that. So you're going to see multiple goals because this kiddo receives academic services as well as speech services and other related services. I'm going to scroll down and I find my goal. So when you find your goal, you have your status bar. It's a drop-down menu. You're going to select sufficient progress, insufficient progress, emerging skill, mastered, or not introduced. Sufficient progress typically means that they've made wonderful progress and there's going to be a great chance that they're going to probably meet this goal within the academic or IEP year. Insufficient progress means there's not been a lot of progress made and they're not going to meet this goal. Emerging skill means that they are showing progress, that the skill is coming, but they may not reach the goal by the end of the IEP year. Mastered indicates that they've mastered the goal, and not introduced means that you've just not introduced the topic to them. So I'm going to select emerging skill because that's where he's at right now. And then you have a status narrative for progress report. So this system doesn't necessarily take out the previous comments that you've made. So I'm just going to scroll down to the bottom of that comment box. And later, if you choose so, you can have the facilitator print them out and highlight the specific date for the current 9 weeks you're commenting on. So I'm just going to make up a random date in October. I'm going to put in my little abbreviation, which is just like the first 2 letters of the word. So ES is emerging skill, SP would be sufficient progress, etc. So I'm just going to add in my little comment about how he's doing on this goal. So I've typed in my little narrative about how he's doing right now. So I have put in objectives for him. You're going to see these objectives after the annual goal. I do not necessarily add in comments or change the status of the objectives, but if you wanted to do that, you could. So then I have another goal for him. So I'd keep emerging skill if I felt that's how he was. And then I would go down and do my little date, my abbreviation, and then my comment again about how he's doing. So I've put in that little objective comment there. Again, you have the objectives. If you've put them in, you do not have to comment on those or change the status. So I'm going to scroll on down to the bottom here. Now, you do not have to put in a status summary narrative if you don't want to, and his goals are what they're supposed to be right now. So I'm not going to tap in anything there. So under that box, you have just update the database, which means you're just going to update what you've put in, and that's going to basically save it, but you're going to stay on Jackson's progress report. The next option is update and move to the next student. So since I've selected 3 students, he's my first. If I choose update and move to next student, it will update and save what I've put in here for him and go to the second student I've selected. The third option is create draft progress report and move to next student. I'm not going to do that because I'm not Jackson's case manager for his IEP. So what I'm going to select is update and move to next student. So here I have my next student I've selected. So right on this page, since she's a speech only kid, there are only speech related goals. So here's my goal. I'm going to select emerging skill or whatever other I feel like. So I still feel like these skills are emerging just because I've put in additional. It's not just one goal for one sound. It's multiple sounds in one goal. So I'm going to put in my random date. And of course, this date is going to be what the actual end of the 9 weeks is. So I've typed in my little comment for her. I'm going to scroll down. Again, you don't have to put in the status objectives. You have your status summary, and you don't have to put anything in there. So now I have a fourth option. So we have the just update the database. So just going to save that little comment I put in there. Update and move to the next student, which is going to say, go on to the next student if you selected another one. Create draft progress report and move to next student. And now there's a create final progress report and move to next student. And that is there because I am Brielle's case manager. So if you're the case manager for the kiddo that you are working on, you have that new option. But I'm not going to do that right now with her. So I'm going to click update and move to next student. So here is my next kiddo I've put on. However, he recently just had an IEP done, and that new goal is not popping up on here. So if that happens, we'll go over what needs to be done. So he has mastered this goal. I've put mastered in as the status. I'm going to put in my little comment. And I'm going to put that he's been placed on monitor due to the progress he's made and to ensure regression does not occur. Now, that's still an appropriate comment for this goal, even if it's not updated to what the new IEP says. So down here, I have added in what his new IEP actually read. That's his goal that is on the updated IEP. And again, I just put down here that the same comment basically I put in the first box. I put my little abbreviation, monitor services due to maximum progress, ensure regression does not occur. So this time, I'm going to select update and move to next student. So here is, it went straight to his documents. So there is your report card, your progress report. It's just going to show you the draft that you have made. There's the goal. This is what your goal page looks like on the IEPs when they get printed. You're going to scroll down. Right here is the reporting period date. That's not the right date because the 9 weeks doesn't end for a few more weeks. You have your little goals right here, your status update goals. So you have the SP, the ES, IP, NI, and M. You have the short-term objectives if there are any. And then here at the end, this is where that new goal has been put in at that I've typed in on my own, and I've put in the same code. So now I'm going to go back to the wizards. I'm going to click on progress reports. And this time, I'm going to go back to Brielle's just to show you how to make the draft. So you click continue after you select the student. So here's those goals that we did earlier. And there's the progress comment that I made in there. So down here you have update the database, update and move to next student, create draft progress report and move to next student, and create final progress report. I'm not going to create a final right now because once it's made final, it stays in the system. I'm going to create a draft. A draft is good for 30 days for you to be able to make a final or to edit it. So I'm going to click create draft. And here is the 2 drafts I've made. You see Tristan's from earlier, and now there's Brielle's. So if I want to look at Brielle's, I just click on the report card. And there's the goal again. And here is the progress that she has been making with these goals. I don't have any progress comments on the objectives because those are not required. And I didn't have a summary status narrative because that wasn't required on hers either, because that is in the long-term objective box. I'm going to show you another way to be able to get to the kids' documents, though, if you don't want to go through the wizards. So what you would do is you can either go to main menu, and you can click on your caseload, which is on the other page, or you can go through your school compliance caseload, and it's going to show you all your kids on your caseload. So whichever one you want to do. You can do it that way, or click on my caseload, and they're going to pop up through here. So here is Brielle's profile page. She has her student info, eligibility, IEP. This is kind of where you create your eligibility and IEP processes as well. And you're going to click on the Documents tab. So your Documents tab has basically everything that's ever been done for this child. And you can see right here her report card. And over on the side it says draft. So also she had an IEP recently, so that's why that's there. And if you go from here, you can see a report card that way as well, which is right there. Of course, when you clicked, if you put create final progress report and move on, this would say final, or it wouldn't say anything at all. It might have this little box right through there. So if we go back to Tristan's, where it didn't have a updated goal at. You can, of course, just let whoever know, the SSM or maybe the facilitator at the school that you work with. Sorry. So when you make a small mistake, it makes you go back to the beginning. And so since I put his comment down here with the newest goal, you would just let the facilitator know that they needed to highlight that area. Once you are done with the progress reports, you'll need to let the facilitator at the school know if you're ready for them to be printed off and made, and you would have to make them a final copy. Let the facilitator know that you're ready to have them printed out, and they'll get them to the student to take home. Now, if you're not the case manager for the kid, like Jackson earlier, the case manager for them will probably be in contact with you all to be able to get you set up doing the progress reports and make sure they're done in time for them to send them home. So we try to get them sent home around the same time that report cards are, unless you can get them home earlier. If something happens, again, with the goals not being right, just make sure you let the facilitator know when they print it off they need to highlight a specific area. When I print them off, I like to highlight the utmost update date because there are multiples usually in the progress report paragraph. And of course, whenever you're done with all your progress reports, you're going to make sure they're final. You can tell your facilitator. If you have different facilitators for different kids, I would let each facilitator know that you're ready for them to be printed off and sent home with the child. And of course, if you ever have any questions about it, just let someone know and hopefully we can get it worked out. And that is how you do progress reports. Thank you all, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.